episode 447, How to Have a Frugal Spooky Season.
Welcome to the Frugal Friends podcast, where you'll learn to save money, embrace simplicity, and live a richer life. Here are your hosts, Jen and Jill.
Welcome to the Frugal Friends podcast. My name is Jen.
My name is Jill.
And today we are talking all things spooky season.
Ooh, woo, woo, woo,
It has become really, I think, the holiday of choice for millennials, and the data we will read to you will reinforce that for many reasons. But today we are going to put some of our millennial spending maybe into perspective. We're going to talk just a smidgen about inflation and the economy, but not enough to bore you. And then we're also going to talk about, if you choose to partake, how you can partake frugally.
You really laid it out well, Jen. I'm excited for this journey together that we will take through October.
I mean, I am a pumpkin spice girly, so I have been here, I am here, and I will be here for spooky season. And I'm excited about this episode.
I think that's part of it. And we did poll you all, for those of you who get the Friendletter, which is the email that we send out weekly. If you're not getting it, frugalfriendspodcast.com. But we asked you all, what are you most likely to spend on unnecessarily this fall? The options being decorations, anything involving pumpkins, trick-or-treating / costumes, or other. You all said decorations mostly, but pretty neck and neck on the pumpkins, the trick-or-treating and costumes. But I think, at least related to decorations, that's part of why I think spending is so high around this time, because it's that combo of Halloween and fall. And I think we talked about in a recent episode how much fall is this overinflated time of year. Everyone loves it. We had a long conversation about pumpkin spice lattes and just pumpkins and
in our episode on what to budget for this fall. It's fall has been a heavily marketed season. It needed a rebrand. Winter has its things, summer has its things, even spring, the shoulder season of seasons, had its thing, coming out of the cold. Fall didn't really have a thing. Fall was, summer's over, winter's coming. Like fall,
back to school.
Yeah. Fall was really the worst season, and it has had a glow up, and now it's become another opportunity for us to spend money. And
blow up went to blow up.
Yes.
And it is affecting our wallet.
But a couple of things I wanted to say about some of the things that you guys said about quote unquote unnecessary fall spending. I love knowing when something is unnecessary and necessary. And just because it's unnecessary does not mean it's bad. And so a lot of you were saying, like, all the fall stuff, apple picking, pumpkin everything, just fall drinks at cafes, apple flavored drinks, pumpkin hand wash and soap. Amen. So like, there's a difference between feeling guilty about buying these things and buying them without guilt. But knowing that they're unnecessary, knowing that they're not needed, and being in total alignment with those things, and knowing I love these things. They don't get me closer to my highest values, but I still love them and embrace them, and putting money aside for them is totally great. We totally support that. But we also want to come at that combating some of the overconsumption that has been marketed to us in this season. But first, speaking of the Friendletter, this episode is brought to you by the Friendletter, which is our thrice weekly newsletter where we send out polls like this so we can talk about the data we receive from you. And then also we send out freebies. There are a lot, like we said, marketing is very heavy in the fall. It's heavy in every season, but I would say especially fall and winter, because there's not as much going on outside. So people know you're inside more on your computer or in stores. So there's a lot more marketing in the fall and winter. So we talk about freebies every Monday. They're all marketing ploys, but if you know that and you can still get something for free, why wouldn't you, right? So we do that on Mondays. We do saving hacks and tips on Wednesdays. And then on Fridays, we talk about the mindset to combat overconsumption and to learn spending as a skill. So that one's a little bit more maybe inspirational, cerebral. But frugalfriendspodcast.com, every single friend letter is unique and is valuable. And we would love to have you with us on that journey. frugalfriendspodcast.com. All right. So let's talk about holiday impulse spending, this spooky season consumption let's start it out with a little bit of data.
Ooh, research.
Yeah.
We love it. So sexy.
So before we started recording, I looked at the data set that we had been presented with. And I was like, this is and you will see this every season. You'll see this on the news or on the radio, where they'll talk about Americans are projected to spend X this holiday season or will increase by X. And it's all prediction. It's all planned. And it's not going to be that far off, but, it's not 100% accurate. The problem with Halloween is that normally you can find the actual data set after the holiday for what people really spent. And that's usually what we go off. The problem for this holiday is we could not find the actual data. Even when we were looking at predictions for 2024, they all kept referencing these articles that were the planned. And so you always got to look at the cited data as well as the data. So we're going to assume that the quote unquote planned spending that they reported in 2023, we're just going to go off of that. We're going to look at spending, not at what is predicted for 2024, but we're going to look at how much did people spend in 2023 versus 2022. Mm-hmm. That's when that's when inflation stabilized, right? So from 21 to 22, you had that 8-9% interest. From 22 to 23, we saw it stabilize at 4, which is still over the 2 to 3 we like to see, but obviously much closer. And so did spending increase at a rate of 4%, or did it increase at a higher rate, which means it wasn't just spending that was increasing, it means that's consumption increasing. Mm-hmm. So what did we find, Jill?
Here we go. So we've got a couple of data sets that we can go off of. One from National Retail Federation, the NRF, stated that in 2022, individuals spent on average $100 just for Halloween. That was individuals. They didn't say households. They truly said each individual on average spent $100 in 2022. And then in 2023, that on average, individuals spent $108. Doesn't sound like that much, but that is an 8% increase from 2022 to 2023, which, as you just stated, the inflation rate stabilized at 4%. So that's nearly double the inflation rate that people spent. So I think a lot of times one of the things that you said before we hopped on was they're always going to predict it's higher, of course. And people will say, yes, of course I'm going to spend more because inflation is causing me to spend more. Things cost more money. But this is pointing out to us that that's not the only thing we can point the finger at. Our desire for more, our degree of consumption is outpacing inflation.
Mm-hmm. And it's outpacing what we've seen historically for the holiday too. So NRF also looked at how many people are celebrating. So in 2023, you had 73% versus in 2017, you had 72%. And that rate actually just kept going down until 2020. So we had 72, we had 70, we had 68. In 2020, we had only 58% of people celebrating Halloween. And then we have our post-pandemic reawakening into the world where things just go off to where in 2023 it did surpass that pre-pandemic levels of people celebrating Halloween. And part of it has to do with that post-pandemic kind of reawakening. Part of it also is social media, and a lot of content creators will create content around seasons, because like, what else do you do? And so there have been, every season you'll see this onslaught of inspired costuming, wearing, decor, DIY, all of this stuff. And it makes you think that more people are celebrating the holiday, when in reality, it's just content creators looking to schedule their content creation.
Yeah.
And
trying to be relevant for the
trying
season.
to be relevant and trying to come up with new ideas for content. And don't worry, we're going to have an episode about influencers coming up.
Oh,
if I talk passionately about them, it's because I just got out of that rabbit hole. Jill just literally pulled me up out of it. But like, it's this like perfect storm of like marketing, social media, post-pandemic that's created this overconsumption on this holiday.
Which I'm right here with you. I'm loving to look at the realities of this and really inwardly too at the ways that we're being sold to. I have appreciated the focus that we've had just for ourselves of how are marketers marketing to us? How are we choosing to spend money so that we can feel more resourced and more knowledgeable to be able to make some of these better spending decisions? So all of this, I think, just serves to help us and benefit us in the decisions we make with our money. There's one final stat I want to note, and it probably has to do with what you're describing, Jen, of more people participating in the holiday. So not necessarily contradictory to the other stats, but interesting nonetheless. So the NRF, again, also stated that spending went from $10.6 billion in 2022 on Halloween in the United States to $12.2 billion in 2023. And that is a 20% increase in spending. And that might have to do with not so much one individual to the next, increasing about 8%, but also the influx of how many more people are now engaged in the holiday as well. So that even pushes the degree of consumption even higher than just individual to individual, like what we're choosing to engage in collectively this time of year.
Yeah. And so some of the things that they were saying people are spending more on, this isn't necessarily overall costumes. That's like the first thing we think about. But like a lot of it is candy. And people are starting to buy earlier. I think it was, I have lost the stat, but Amazon searches for Halloween in August from 2022 to 2023 increased 200%. So like 200% more people are starting to plan for Halloween in August. And the earlier you start shopping for something, obviously the more time you're going to be buying stuff for it. And so just little things here and there. One of the stats is the highest or the leading destination to buy Halloween items is discount stores. It's the little things that are adding up. So we're going to these discount stores, we're finding more affordable trinkets and trash, and we're starting to buy them earlier. So it makes less of a dent in our month-to-month budget. But overall, it is in total more.
And you know why we're buying it sooner? Because they're selling it to us sooner, because it's working, because marketers are putting these things in the stores in August and we're scooping it up like hungry little...
We love change.
Gremlins.
We love change. So we want buying something makes us feel like things are changing. Especially when you're in that back to school rut. Like you're in the thick of it and you just want to control something and you can't get out of the season that you are in. But jack-o'-lanterns are back, and little cute little skeletons where you can make them put their arms in different ways. And I saw the cutest skeleton heads at Target that were covered in like this dark green velvet.
Yeah.
And they're so cute. But like what I said when I was shopping with Kai and we were looking at this stuff, we can appreciate it without having to take it home.
Oh, yeah.
And so,
well done.
Yeah, they do it because it works. And I'll give one more stat on costumes.
Okay, make it quick because we said we wouldn't bore them.
I know. So actually, the spending on costumes for children has remained relatively steady since 2018. 1.2 bill, 1.2, 1.2, 1.2. We see a little dip in 2020. We were at 1.4 in 2023. People are not spending more on their children. Where we see the big jump, and here's people are not spending more on their dogs either. We're at 0.5. When we reach inflation, we get 0.7. We stay pretty steady. People are buying more adult costumes and pricier adult costumes. So more quantity and higher price. So it's not I'm spending more for my kids or my dog. It's I'm spending more for me.
Yes.
You know? And so we need to take a hard look.
I deserve this. Did that already air?
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's another thing to be aware of. And those are all the stats that we'll go through.
Okay. So you all get the point. There's something to look at on our end of how we can just decrease consumption. And I love this about frugality and values-based spending, that when we get better at this, it helps us, it helps our community, it helps the environment. We're not just talking about saving our own money. We're also talking about decreasing our consumption in a way that's going to benefit us and the community. And so now that we can understand, we can take back some of this decision making for ourselves. Let's look at what we can do, ways to be able to still enjoy Halloween, but level out. Just like, let's let it plateau a little bit and make some really informed decisions. We're going to look at the top areas that we do spend, from costumes and candy to decor. Okay, so this next article comes from Money and Mentors, and it is titled Best Ways to Save Money on Halloween This Year. And that is what we want to know.
Yeah.
And I like how they go into categories here of how to save on costumes. And so that's where we'll start with, and then candy and decor. But their first tip is pretty obvious, but it is worth restating because so many of us don't do this. But it is making your own costumes, that you can find things around your house to create a costume with. It might take a little bit more creativity or problem solving, or even sacrificing a little bit of exactly what it is that you want or your vision to create something with what you already have and not need to purchase a whole costume. That, or you create something with everything that you have on hand, and maybe you need to buy one small piece to really complete the ensemble, but that's going to be far less than needing to go and buy the entire thing in and of itself. And there is plenty of helpful things on the internet, from Pinterest to just straight up Google, on what are some just DIY costume ideas. How can I create something that can be fun, I feel good about, but I don't have to spend a ton of money on? Not to mention something that I most likely won't wear again. Like regular Halloween costumes, they are cheaply made. And I use that word accurately.
Yep.
They're going to fall apart. You're probably not going to want to wear it again next year. And you're most certainly not going to be wearing it just out and about. It's like your classic bridesmaid's dress, right? Like, you're never going to wear this again. There's never going to be another
unless you
use
wear the
for
bridesmaid's dress for Halloween, in which, there you go. That's the only other place you're going to wear that bridesmaid's dress.
Yeah. I love the Halloween costumes that are just puns or something really outlandish. And it doesn't have to be just your classic Disney princess. And you got to get a Disney princess costume. Just like as if we're spending more money on ourselves and not our children, then we can get more creative and fun and funny with what we end up dressing as. It doesn't have to be just a classic character.
Mm-hmm. You could also go secondhand. There are, especially if you're doing like this weekend when you're hearing this episode, look on Facebook Marketplace, look at the thrift store because they're still going to have some left. Goodwill, their Halloween costumes are basically brand new and full price. I don't love it. Facebook Marketplace is where it is at for costumes. That's where the really good costumes are going to be, the good quality, where they don't want to just give it to Goodwill. They want to sell it, get some money back for it. That's where you're going to find the good ones. If you love dressing up for Halloween, it is your thing. And if you're going to do it homemade, you're going to spend more money than if you just bought it. I would say go to Facebook Marketplace. I seriously was looking in August at Halloween costumes, kind of for myself, but also to prep for this episode. And there was it was Beetlejuice, the couple, and their demon, weird form. Somebody had made this couple's costume, had won and I'm pretty sure I know which, I'm pretty sure it was the Old Northeast Halloween competition.
Oh, cool.
This house won, but this listing said that they won a costume contest with this costume duo. So this was an award-winning duo, costume duo that you could find for like half the price. No like work needed to assemble. It was already ready to go. And it was just on Facebook Marketplace.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. So like you're going to get some good things. So if Halloween really is your holiday, you don't have to like spend all your money doing it. At least not every year. Maybe every other year you really do go all out and you do the thing, right? But then every other year you're looking on Facebook Marketplace to find those hidden gems.
Yeah. Or you really hone in on what is the thing that is most valuable to you in the season. It doesn't mean we have to go all out on the costume and the decor and the candy. Like, choose what's most important to you.
Yeah. If the costume is yours, then you're doing that. And maybe next year you invest in some decor and you don't do as much of the costume. Just pick and choose what's most important.
The final one in this category of saving on costumes is doing a costume swap. I would imagine this would be really good, especially for kids' costumes, like similar to, if you've got a lot of mom friends, get together and swap your various costumes. That's also good for hand-me-downs. It's also something that you can find on Facebook Marketplace and at the thrift store, but swapping is free and we love free. So maybe consider arranging a swap with the neighborhood or other kids from school and their moms. And it's also a hangout and that's fun. So
yeah, it might be a little late to do that now, but you could organize a costume swap like with other moms and dads where everybody brings in old costumes and the kids get to go around and look for a costume that they might want. And if two of them want the same costume, then they can like throw down in some sort of way.
Make them do a dance off for it.
So this would be a really great way to increase your relationships and community. This is a way we can get together and solve our problems and build relationships without spending money. Like 2 for 2.
Speaking of increasing relationships and community, we're moving on to candy.
Well, I did want to add something to this article. Okay, so this is not in here, but this is a Jen edition for costumes.
Love that.
Don't wear one. Maybe that's an option for you too.
Right.
You have the freedom to not wear a costume if you don't want to.
Absolutely.
You can attend a party without a costume. Unless that party says you don't get in the door without a costume. In that case, home DIY it. No, who's going to tell you you don't look like Freddie Mercury on a Tuesday night?
Right.
Right? Like who knew what he looked like on a Tuesday at home,
Yeah.
right, when no one was
Or
there.
you could just show up as you and be a curmudgeon. I am a curmudgeon because I did not dress up for Halloween like everyone else.
Yeah. This is also an option. You can also throw a party, which is an anti-costume party for people who don't like wearing costumes.
Which is just a regular party.
Yeah. So true. So true. For people who love pumpkin stuff, who don't really love Thanksgiving food, but love spooky season.
Mm-hmm.
And there you go. You can wear skull shirts. You can wear your spookiest stuff that you already have in your closet.
Exactly.
That's the thing. You don't have to wear a costume to take your kids trick-or-treating. You don't have to be this cute family curated theme.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't have to do that.
Yep.
You let your kids be whatever they want, and it can be all different, and you can just wear shorts.
Yep.
I love that.
Okay, back to my segue.
Okay, I'm so sorry.
Speaking
I just had to
of community.
throw that because that's what I'm going to be doing. Because I actually hate costumes. I hate them so much. They're one wear.
Yeah.
I hate them.
Hold on. Now I'm getting on a rabbit trail with you. Is it because you only wear them once, or you just don't like dressing up? Because you could be something from your closet. Do you just not like themed requirements for what you wear?
I don't love themed requirements, but I truly hate the oneness of the costume. There is one setting I can wear this. I do have a Where's Waldo glasses and beanie set that I will occasionally bring out, or like cat ears.
Yeah.
And I will wear those every couple of years. But I really do detest the single useness of it. Like, and then
but it doesn't have to be single use.
Right, but I have to put the work in to find a used, and then I wear it, and then I have to put the work
you
in.
already have. Is it just the work to think about something you already have?
Yeah, and I do. If I have to wear a costume, which I will attend costume parties and dress up for trick or treating, and I will always wear things I already have.
Yeah,
and it will always be very odd references. Like when I was pregnant with Atlas, I wore what I would normally wear to run a half marathon, but I was like a pregnant runner, you know, like I wouldn't have been running a half marathon in that state, but other people do. So it's like not even really great costumes. So I will do it if I have to, but I don't like to. And that's okay. So I love all the other, I love the skulls and the skeletons, and I love death. Honestly, I think if we're digging into it as I'm saying it out loud,
you're gonna lean into the death portion. Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
Moving on to candy.
Candy. Okay. Split costs with a neighbor. Now, hear me out. I do like this for the sense of if you do live in a neighborhood, potentially considering having a house or two houses or three, whatever you want to do, kind of go in and you all hang out on that person's porch, coming together, bringing candy, and then more is more when you're together and you're all hanging out and you're passing out candy, and then you didn't have to buy as much candy. You could also do this because not everybody lives in a house where people are going to come trick-or-treating. If you do have one of those houses, just inviting other friends over, not necessarily a neighborhood thing, but have people just come to your house, bring candy, and you all sit out front together. And that way, or you just tell everybody to provide the candy, you just provide some warm apple cider for everyone, and you just sit out and you give candy to people. So, or if your friend has a spot, then you could be the one to join in. So I love that idea because it's another like doubling up situation where you don't have to spend as much. You get more community and hanging out time.
Yes, I love that. Hanging out with your neighbors on the front porch. I am very into that. And we all know, like, which neighborhoods kids go trick-or-treating in. Mm-hmm. If you live in one of those neighborhoods, you're going to buy candy. And sometimes you're going to buy a lot of it. Like, Old Northeast, Snell Isle, Shore Acres, like those are the neighborhoods kids trick or treat in here. Mm-hmm. And then everywhere else is just like, if I buy a bag of candy, 2 kids are going to come by
Yeah.
and I'm going to be eating the whole bag of candy.
Mm-hmm.
Let's not do that to ourselves.
Yeah.
Okay, let's not do that to our bodies.
Exactly.
Let's be like strategic, and maybe you don't have to buy candy. Maybe you don't have to
Which
give
is
out candy.
similar to the next two that you can take over. I think they're kind of a combination tip.
Yeah, limit candy output and or set boundaries around the time. So I'm going to say I'm a grown adult and I love the houses that get full candy bars.
Mm-hmm.
We go to the neighborhoods that give out full candy bars, drinks, light shows, dance parties. It's such a good time.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can't, I mean, if you don't have a neighborhood where kids go to trick or treat, I mean, you don't have to be that extravagant, right? But like, don't kid yourself and don't buy candy saying that you're going to give it out, even though you know you're not. So limit the candy. I guess input. Honestly, it's the candy like incoming to your house versus output.
Right. Yeah. How much you buy.
Because I don't see how you could limit the output. Like, are you going to just give? What are you going to do?
Well, I think they're saying like you limit the amount that you give. Like it is possible to say just every kid gets one piece of candy, but they're also saying you can set time limitations around it, that you don't have to offer trick-or-treating at your house the entire night long. You could set your own limits of you're going to be out there for an hour or two. And once that time is up, then you're coming in the house or just once the candy is gone, right? It doesn't mean that you have to buy $50 worth of candy. It could mean you buy one bag, you engage for an hour. When it's gone, it's gone. So I think that there's just permission for some of these limitations. If you do want to participate, but you can't be the house with the light show and the full candy bars, then this is an option.
Yeah, maybe you do live in one of those neighborhoods where kids come trick or treat and the house next to you does full candy bars. You don't have to do that because they're already getting full candy bars next door. You don't have to up them. Just do your small candy bars. Don't be stingy.
Yeah.
Don't do weird flavored Tootsie Rolls and gross bubble gum. Like, don't give away candy.
Bubble gum.
You know, but you're the only person. Don't give away candy that's going to get thrown away in the trash just because, you know, you're trying to be cheap and save $1.
Wow.
I have opinion now that I have trick-or-treated with children for several years. Now I have opinions on the candy. Before it was just opinions on skulls.
You're no longer a one-issue voter on this matter.
Right? I'm so glad this is not dictated by our legislation.
Okay, so now we're moving on to decor. We're going to keep it pretty simple here because it's very similar to what we've just talked about with costumes and candy. But DIY this thing all the way. Recognize that you can be crafty and creative. If Halloween decor is even important to you, there are plenty of things you can do to get yourself into the season without really buying anything or hardly buying anything. I love giving myself a nice challenge of how can I decorate and lean into the season with the things that I already have on hand or minimal purchases. It can be really, and the internet yet again is really helpful with this kind of thing, from making, cutting out little ghosts or whatever, bat shapes, whatever you're into, from the paper that you already have on hand or the bags that you have, or using spare pieces of fabric to flap around in the wind, or cotton balls you already have on hand to be spider webs, which, unpopular opinion just for me, I just feel like spider webs are not decoration.
Oh.
But I get it that people are into it.
Au contraire. I would like to propose a frugal cobweb decor hack. So Disney World does this for its Haunted Mansion, and they have, I can't remember what the spray is, but it's just like a sticky spray, and they just spray it between, like, you got a candelabra and you spray it between the candles, and then it collects natural dust and skin flakes and stuff and starts to look like cobwebs. And so all the cobwebs at Disney Haunted Mansion is not actually like cobwebs. It's like real dust and like skin flakes.
That's so gross.
It's so gross. But it's like you don't have to buy cobwebs.
Or you could just use cotton balls pulled apart.
Okay, you could do that too.
You don't have to decorate with skin flakes and dust.
I don't know. If you're like me, you can decorate that way.
Wow.
I don't use it though. Another tip is to reuse and like get it secondhand and all of that jazz. So again, Facebook Marketplace is good, but I would say the thrift store is where I would go for decor. It's got everybody, brings in their holiday stuff and they wait until the holiday to put it out on the floor. And if you are going this weekend, I'm sure there's still some good stuff. The closer you get, the less chance you have, but I think you might still find some stuff out there this weekend.
And of course, you can think ahead and just be planning to buy Halloween decorations after Halloween for next year. The prices drop significantly, even just the day after Halloween. So if you can hold off this year, do all of your DIY and plan to have maybe a few additional things added to your decor repertoire, then you can purchase it afterwards. But you can also try my trick, which is the final tip on here. Skip it all together. If Jen's going to skip the costumes, I'm going to skip the decor. It's not that it's not tempting to me. I do go to these stores. I see the cute things. Oh, how great would that be? But then I realize in order for my home to look so festive, I'm going to need so much more than this one thing that I purchase. So then it's just going to look awkward in my space that I've got this one thing. And then when the season's over, where am I going to put it? I do not care about storing decor for every single season. I'm just not doing it.
Yeah. It's, yeah. So actually, I don't do much, if at all, any decor either. Mine is much more in the food. We'll talk about that later. But yeah, that's the way. And we're not saying you skip everything altogether. We're saying pick one or two things that you can skip and then also see if you can reduce your consumption on the other things, because it is not that everyone is celebrating Halloween to the extreme. And we could say that with any holiday, Thanksgiving, Christmas, whatever.
It's not looking how it looks in the magazines and on Instagram. Not everyone's
It's
doing
not
that.
real life. So choose what's most important to you about this holiday and really embrace that. Do that. And then forget about the other stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But you know what I don't forget about? Ever.
It's not spooky or macabre, but I love it all the same.
The bill of the week.
That's right. It's time for the best minute of your entire week. Maybe a baby was born and his name is William. Maybe you paid off your mortgage. Maybe your car died and you're happy to not have to pay that bill anymore. Duck bills, Buffalo Bills, Bill Clinton. This is the bill of the week.
Hey, Jen and Jill, this is Biani Hill. First and foremost, love you guys. I've been listening for about 3 years now. And I just have to say, before I forget, I love the sound effects from the pew pew to the Well, anyway, my bill of the week is actually a website that I wanted to share with y'all that has really brought down my grocery bill. It is called supercook.com. It's a little spoon with a superhero cape on it. And what you do is you check off all the items you currently have at home, anything from ground beef to any seasonings or spices or anything at all in your pantry. And it gives you a list of all the recipes you can do with those items. And it starts tapering down to what recipes you can use with everything you have minus one item that you're missing or two items that you're missing. So your groceries are absolutely minimal. So instead of trying to find an entire recipe, you just go buy one or two items that you're missing. And that is my bill of the week. Again, thank you so much for everything you guys do for all of us, and truly unsung heroes, really. Bye, y'all.
Oh my God.
Oh, wow. I was not expecting that, Vianney.
Oh, wow.
That's
Oh.
amazing. Thanks for all of your compliments. That's so kind of you.
Pew pew for you, girl. That's for you. Pew pew.
For Vianney. And this is a great tip. I love stuff like this.
This thing looks great. Supercook.com. It looks, I mean, yeah, this looks awesome.
That'll definitely help save on your grocery bill. And as you were saying this, it made me think, how great would this be? And really, I should trademark this before I tell the world about my genius idea that I just had based on Vianney's bill of the week.
Oh, wow.
How great would that be to have an app similar to that for Halloween costumes? You could type in what you already have on hand, and they could tell you the types of Halloween costumes you can make with it.
Wow.
Right? You're like, I have a white t-shirt and these pants, and here's my accessories, and what could I be?
Oh, wow.
I know. I might need to have them cut this out so I can go off and become a millionaire with this idea.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And your income could be affiliate income from stores saying like, oh, but you're missing this one
This
piece.
piece.
Here it is at Target.
Mm-hmm.
It's our idea now, Jill.
Oh, wow. I'm sure Vianney wants in on this too. We can split the $1 million 3 ways.
Wow.
And if we've got any developers out there, then we'll split it 4 ways with you to actually help us implement on this idea.
We are broke again. And that's how we don't make money, Jill, because we
Too
share it
many
with so
cooks
many
in the
people.
kitchen. Wow. Well, Vianney, thanks for this tip that is just launching us into $1 million ideas. If you all listening have a bill that you want to submit, if it's about how you save money in the kitchen, save money on Halloween, or your bill, you embody bill, frugalfriendspodcast.com/bill to leave us your bill. We're ready for it. And now it's time for the lightning round.
Pew. All right. So for today's lightning round, your Halloween plans for this year. Jill?
Well, I will just be getting back from Europe, so it won't be much. But I do have a hope this year to watch. You did reference it already, and I have not seen it. Beetlejuice is on mine and Eric's
You haven't
list. No, I know.
What?
I know that you want to slap me,
I don't want to slap
but
you.
please don't.
It's not the best. It's honestly not my favorite Halloween movie.
Okay. What is?
I don't know if it's an actual Halloween movie, but it feels Halloween for me. Edward Scissorhands.
Okay.
That's mine.
Yeah.
I really like a Tim Burton moment.
Okay.
I'm gonna lie about it, but
Yeah.
I'm an Edward Scissorhands girl.
Yeah. So that's on my list. There's also a movie that my friend was in. And now I need to look it up to make sure that I get the name of it right. It's like Vampire Diaries or something like that. And I haven't
That's a
seen
show.
it yet. No, yeah, so that's not what it's called. It's about vampires. Alice and the Vampire Queen.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's like a film that was put out last year, and I've been wanting to watch it, but I'm like, I should watch it around Halloween. She says, she's like, oh, it's low budget. It's not that good. But she plays the vampire in it, and I just want to support her and see what it's all about. So that one's on my list too. So I got 2 movies.
Wow.
And that'll probably be how I observe Halloween. We don't get a ton of trick-or-treaters on our road. We get a few. So I usually just put out Honestly, Dum Dum lollipops are my go-to. Sorry if that's not your favorite, Jen. But they are inexpensive and they last for a while. So if I end up having leftovers, then they can continue to be treats for the kids in the neighborhood throughout the year. I like a good Dum Dum lollipop.
Good for you.
And so I put that out by the door. I may or may not be home. Well, I'll be what that looks like. How about you?
I am planning another event for the night. Last year I had to take the kids out alone because Travis was sick. So I planned to, dope him up with elderberry for the week prior. And so that he cannot abandon me again because this isn't his favorite. But I love those. Okay, so I love Old Northeast. It has a home decorating contest every year, and it's 3 streets, maybe 9 blocks of homes decorated like you would think Christmas decorations, but think times 10 and for Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
There are hobbit holes, Beetlejuice,
Whoa.
alien flying saucers, like life size.
Whoa.
Every single movie you can think of, Toy Story, just so many themes.
Mm-hmm.
And they are so fun.
Whoa, cool.
So I like to go earlier in the day when it's still light out. It's less crowded. Earlier in the day, like 5 o'clock. So do that and then go down to Shore Acres where they give out the free, the full candy bars. And it's a joy.
Do you know what your kids will be yet?
So as of now, we are recording this a month before it comes out. And also that's a month before Halloween, right? So Kai wants to wear, this is, judge me as you will. I hate costumes. I had him 2 years ago. He wanted to be Zuma from Paw Patrol. So I bought him they don't make Zuma costumes, but I bought him a Zuma sweatshirt. The sweatshirt it had a big Zuma face on it.
Cool.
So it wasn't just a picture of Zuma, it was Zuma.
Uh-huh.
So he wore that as his Halloween costume.
And then probably throughout the year too.
And throughout the year we wore it. He wore that thing out. Last year he wore the Home Depot apron that they give kids for free at the DIY events that they do. And he was a Home Depot employee. He had his little toolbox.
Cute.
So again, spent nothing on that. And then this year, he actually wants to wear his Spider-Man's hoodie. And it goes up over your head and it goes over your eyes.
Whoa.
So you kind of look like Spider-Man. Atlas actually has Kai's Spider-Man costume from when he was little. We got it secondhand. And I think he's still going to fit into it. So Kai wants him to be Spider-Man too.
Uh-huh.
So we might have 2 Spider-Mans.
Yeah.
Again, it's early and you can't always
predict,
right?
With the waves.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but we still have that Home Depot apron. We have a chef's hat and apron, which he also he wore that last year as well. Mm-hmm. So 2 different events. He wanted to be 2 different things. We have a Blippi ensemble. So we're using things that other people bought for us just for play for Halloween.
Yeah, it's great.
And that's also an option. So we'll see.
Perfect.
We'll see if maybe we see something that's available on Marketplace or when I go to the thrift store next week. We'll see. But we're going to trick or treat and we're going to buy pumpkin treats to have at home. Because I would much rather have those versus candy.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's what I'm going to do.
Thanks everyone for listening. We hope that you have a lovely fall season and spooky season.
Spooky.
That this has inspired you to just consume less and allow your money to experience the benefits of that. We also want to thank you for leaving us really great reviews like this one from Titanic Lover 3. There's more than one of you.
Wow.
Okay.
It's me, my friend Katie, and you.
Fun and frugal at the same time. 5 stars. I found this podcast a couple of months ago and love listening to it while I'm in the car and doing chores around the house. They're fun to listen to and keep me motivated on trying to spend less money. Great podcast. Thanks, Titanic Lover. That's a lovely review.
I know. I also love the Titanic, but then I feel weird saying that because it's a shipwreck where like 1,500 lives were lost and RIP moment of silence for those people. But I love the movie Titanic too. So
yeah, Leonardo DiCaprio had his moment.
Yeah. You know, James Cameron just made that movie because he wanted to go down to the Titanic wreckage and he wanted somebody else to pay for it. Fun fact.
Whoa.
Boss. You know why he made Avatar?
So he could.
Money. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed the show, please take a minute to leave a rating and review. It helps potential listeners know how many bad jokes that Jen has and what we're all about here.
See you next time.
Frugal Friends is produced by Eric Siriani.
Okay, Jen, I've been waiting all morning for the after show that you said
Okay.
I have to wait for.
All right. Well, so you had a great story for us this morning, but I don't want to say I have a better one, but I found this morning. I woke up a little early to have my coffee in silence and darkness. And I looked on our city's website to see when the trash pickup would be.
Okay.
Yesterday was Labor Day. And so I was like, did I miss trash day? And I did. Yeah. Trash pickup was not affected. So that's another story. But I found the Gulfport Community Update page on our city's website.
I'm locked in.
So I was like, oh, community updates. I should know about these. And they start off like, yeah. And this is where I got my information. You know, sanitation schedule will not be affected. This is what I should have been reading all along. Hurricane season, fertilizer restrictions, free smoke detectors for the elderly and low income, upcoming special events. And then we go down to police department. We have our own tiny little police department. And there is a list for the week of every dispatch call for service, incidents, arrests, traffic stops, parking violations, ordinance violations, residence checks, and then examples of arrests and significant incidents and calls of the week with real first and last names of people. Like Jamie X was arrested for domestic battery on August 22nd. And in detail, like just, you know. And then I got down to this, my favorite one of the list. Robert was arrested for exposure of, I'll let you guess, on August 25th after he decided to go skinny dipping in above ground pool on a common area of a multi-unit dwelling.
Whoa. Like he lives there?
It doesn't give any like peripheral information. All I know is that Robert was arrested
for skinny dipping.
Yeah. For not just the dipping, but you know, is seemingly getting in and out.
Right. But I mean, essentially skinny
in a
dipping.
common area of a multi-unit dwelling.
That probably is like a condo with a pool. You know, you get comfortable. You think it's yours. And then then you go skinny dipping, and that's where you cross the line, Robert.
Yeah. So that is what I was reading all morning.
Wow.
It was just the different things
This
that
is going to
happened this
become
week.
your new muse.
And you
isn't
know
it?
what?
Just opening up.
I'm thinking it exists because like our city is a lot of like retired people. Like it is predominantly retirees.
Okay.
And wouldn't it be lovely if this just was for like retirees? Like that's why this exists.
Yeah. It may have happened in a retirement community.
Maybe.
Robert might be out here in his 55 plus.
Above ground pool. It makes me think it was like a duplex and Robert just put in a pool so he could skinny dip. And then the other tenants were like,
No, Robert.
No, Robert.
No.
You can't.
So sorry, Robert, but there are other people around.
Yeah, that's what I'm envisioning.
Yeah, do that on your own time in your bathtub.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so that's what I'm going to be. Check back next week for this edition of
What's happening in Florida.
What's happening in Florida.